Hi students, as a part of nanomaterials, today I am going to discuss about scanning electron microscopy, often called SEM, and environmental scanning electron microscopy, often called ESEM. Scanning electron microscopy, SEM, and environmental scanning electron microscopy, ESEM. The SEM and ESEM are microscopes that produce images using electrons instead of visible light. Remember, the wavelength of the light limits the resolution in an optical microscope. Today, we are going to learn about using electrons, which have a much shorter wavelength than visible light for imaging purposes. This is a diagram of light microscope. This is a diagram of light microscope. Light microscope. The basic components include a light source, a way to focus that light onto the sample, a way to collect the light that travels through the sample, this one, and a way to detect that light, this one. With a light microscope, glass lenses similar to magnifying glasses are used to focus the light and collect the light. Now let us see the electron microscope. This is the electron microscope. An electron microscope has many of the small components as a light microscope. Instead of a light source, the electron microscope uses an electron gun. So you can see here, electron gun to produce electrons. Electromagnetic lenses are used to focus the electrons. So these are the lenses. These are the lenses which are present inside the electron microscope. Electromagnetic lenses are used to focus the electrons, and the detector is sensitive to electrons instead of visible light. The detector is sensitive to electrons instead of visible light. Electrons can interact with the sample in a number of ways. Now let us see how the electrons can interact with the sample in a number of ways. So in this manner, the electrons can interact with the sample in a number of ways. Today, we will focus on the backscattered and secondary electrons. We will focus on the backscattered and secondary electrons. Backscattered and secondary electrons. These backscattered and secondary electrons that we can detect in an electron microscope. So these two can be detected in an electron microscope, which I have discussed earlier. When an electron beam strikes a sample, some of the electrons are absorbed. We know this fact. Other electrons are backscattered, just now seen, and some electrons can be ejected as secondary electrons. Some electrons are ejected as secondary electrons. If the number of electrons that strike the sample is not equal to the number of electrons that leave the sample, then the sample will build up a charge. If the number of electrons in is not equal to number of electrons out, then the sample will build up a charge. This is called charging. And it negatively affects the quality of the resulting image. In order to prevent charging, many SEM samples are coated with a thin layer of metal. Most SEM images are produced by collecting secondary electrons. So this is a secondary electron image. This image is a secondary electron image of zinc oxide nanowires and nanoflowers. You can see the flowers as well. Nanowires and nanoflowers. We can see the nanowires and nanoflowers. Yeah, and this. Secondary electron images show the surface feature of the sample. Do remember this. Secondary electron images show the surface features of the sample and therefore look three-dimensional. So you can see over here. The scale bar at the bottom left of the image. You can see here. The scale bar at the bottom left of the image indicates that most of these nanowires are a few microns long and only 50 to 100 nanometers wired. Coming to backscatter SEM images. The backscattered SEM images show fewer surface features than secondary electron images. Often backscatter images look very flat. You can see here, look very flat. The contrast that we do see in a backscatter image, you can see the contrasting image over here. The contrast that we do see in a backscatter image is due to difference in average atomic number. I repeat, the contrast that we do see in a backscatter image is due to the difference in average atomic number. So this particular backscatter image is brighter when compared to the secondary image due to the difference in average atomic number. Regions of the samples with higher atomic number will produce more backscattered electrons and appear bright. Many electron microscopes have both secondary and backscattered electron detectors. So I will show here. So here, this electron microscope is having secondary electron detector over here on right side, And on the left side, you can find a backscatter electron microscope also. So that is the reason we are saying that many electron microscopes have both secondary and backscattered electron detectors, and acquiring both images on the same. Hence, we will get both images. We will get the backscattered electron image and secondary electron image as well. So if you see this following sample, this following sample can illustrate the difference between them. The secondary electron image at the bottom show the surface topology. So this is at the bottom one is the secondary electron image, show the surface topology, while the backscattered image at the top show the atomic number contrast. So it is clearly visible that secondary electron image is not more contrast when compared to backscatter electron image. So backscattered electron image is very black means it is contrast when compared to this secondary electron image. And keep in the mind that both types of images provide useful information. In a typical SEM, vacuum is required because the electrons that we use for imaging will scatter off gas molecules and prevent us from focusing the electron beam on the sample. So it operates at less than 10 to the power of minus 5 torr, reduces electron beam scatter. As a result, we can only image dry samples in a typical SEM. We can only image dry samples. So this is the disadvantage associated with the typical SEM. That is, it is only applicable for to image dry samples only. Dry samples. If we want to look at wet samples, we need to dry them out first, and this often distorts their shape. In the traditional SEM, there are very few residual gas molecules in the SEM chamber, and the beam spot on the samples is relatively small. So in order to overcome this disadvantage associated with this SEM, which can image only dry samples, an alternate SEM has come into picture, which is nothing but environmental SEM. So if you see the environmental scanning electron microscopy or microscope, if you see this, only this will be extra when compared to the traditional SEM. That is, water vapor source is extra. An environmental SEM, often called an eSEM, allows the operator to introduce a controllable amount of water vapor into the SEM vacuum chamber. So from here, we can pass the water vapor in a controlled manner. Controllable amount of water vapor into the SEM vacuum chamber, and this is the SEM vacuum chamber. There is one disadvantage of using an environmental SEM, that is, when you introduce water molecules. Please do remember that in this, we are going to introduce the water molecules with the help of water vapor source. When we introduce water molecules into the chamber, The electrons that are traveling through the sample will hit these water molecules and scatter. The result is that the electron beam is not as tightly focused as in a traditional low pressure SEM. Thus, the resolution of images is not as good. The main advantage of SEM is that you can image wet samples. This is very important. You can image wet samples without having to dry them out. There is no need to dry. So if we dry, what happens? Distortion of the sample takes place. Distortion of the structure takes place. Distortion of the topography takes place. But here we can use the wet samples, making use of this eSEM. In the eSEM, we can keep the samples hydrated and image them in their natural state. So we are not going to dry. So if we are not going to dry, we are not going to distort the topography of the sample. In addition, we can use a small amount of water vapor to collect even charging, to prevent charging. In addition, we can use a small amount of water vapor to also prevent charging. This allows us to image non-conductive samples without the need for a conductive coating, unlike the conventional or traditional SEM. In the case of conventional SEM, we need a conductive coating, but here it is not required. This is an eSEM image of this is an eSEM image of partially melted ice crystal. So the eSEM is great for imaging these types of wet samples. So all are wet. Even the bacteria is wet. Virus is wet. So for the wet samples, we have to go with this environmental SEM, but this is also having one of the disadvantage. So definitely each and every method, each and every equipment will have their own pros and cons. So keeping these pros and cons under consideration, we have to choose what is the best which we can use for our sample. I hope you understood this concept. Thank you for watching this video.